when you're listening to Adam Fox talk after the game. And it's obviously the first time that anybody's talked to him since the letter came out. And he was naturally asked about his commitment level to, staying with the Rangers right now and working through what is going to be a retool, rebuild, whatever you want to call it. And his answer wasn't exactly the most inspirational for confidence and his mindset of where he's at. But I'll read you the quote. If you guys didn't hear it, he said, "I mean, I'm just trying to focus on this year right now and play each game. That's really all I can do right now. Could control is I was just trying to work to get back and help the team finish strong. So I think that's where my head's at. I think that's a conversation when we're done playing games." So, I mean, I think I would like to preface it. Obviously, I wasn't there when he said it. I watched the video, and I think that I'm going to write about it today too. And I kind of want to make people pay attention to the circumstances of him saying this, I guess. I
Right. Yeah.
mean,
You made this point before it
yeah.
was really good.
Y-
I hadn't thought of it, so
Yeah,
I want to do this thing again.
look, this was his first game back after a really long time. He's been
Hmm.
out for longer than he's ever been in his career. This has been the worst string of injuries for him. Um, First game back, he just had a front row seat to watching his teammates get honored for a gold medal that he wasn't a part of, that he thought he might have been a part of.
Hmm.
They just lost in overtime. I can only imagine what the emotions and how tense he was in that moment. All of that funneling into one moment coming out of that game. So I think that his response, you're in a vulnerable position at that point, and I do think that his response was indicative of his inner thoughts for sure. And I don't think that it's not nothing and not something to, focus on, because I do think that it was interesting that he said that, because the alternative would be to definitively say, I want to be here and I want to be a part of this going forward. And he very clearly did not say that. And neither did Igor Shesterkin, apparently. Um,
Hmm.
but I think that you got to take the whole situation as it was and take all of that into consideration. I think that conversations will need to be had at the end of the season for sure, because one of the number one things on Chris Drury's list to do, I think, is making this a place that players want to play again. You're always going to have New York, that will
Hmm.
always be an appeal, and that will never, that will always bring players in, I think, but now you got to look at the guys who are in the room who you want to stay here and build around, but you also want them to want to be here too. And right now, it's kind of hard to say that. Like, you know, their circumstances and the trajectory that they're on right now, it's not looking that great. So I think there's going to have to be conversations to be had, but I'm curious what you thought
Hmm.
when you heard those comments.
I thought it was interesting. He was to an extent honest. Like it's very easy to be like, no, I love it here, and you just
Hmm.
lost. I want to be here, and then nothing else. He thought about it, and he
Hmm.
gave you an answer that
Yeah.
maybe he has been thinking about for a little while. Because although he hasn't been on the ice playing, that's he's been around. Um, it's it's interesting and understandable. Not quite a ringing endorsement, right?
No. Mm-mm.
And I think if you're a player in an organization, there's things that you might want done differently, no matter what the situation is. It could be the best situation. And there's 23 guys on a roster. There's probably 23 different things guys can nitpick. Winning cures all.
Yeah.
So they put a team together that wins games. Guys are going to want to come to New York and play. I don't know why most of the team lives outside of the city, but maybe the city's different than when I played in it. And there's, you
They're all
know,
married. Most of them are
yeah,
married. That's
yeah, but
why.
we had, whatever. Um,
Different times.
I guess. I mean, it's just so great living and playing in New York City, but whatever. It's fine. I think winning cures all. That's it. I mean, you
Yeah.
want to win, and it's frustrating going to conference finals a couple times and getting that close, and then seeing guys getting traded off, and then looking at
Hmm.
the runway of how far is this runway where we're kind of back in the mix,
Hmm.
and that's what the conversations are. But I mean, that's a lot of term and money if you're talking Gavrikov, Igor, and Fox
Yeah.
trying to move out. Um, I think they have conversations throughout the rest of the season and eventually because they need him and he's a huge part.
Yeah.
He played well up until his injury, so hopefully he finishes strong and they can sort of just reset.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah. I
weird year.
mean, and
Weird year.
you also think about how, he moved heaven and earth to be here, you know.
He did everything in his power to be a
Yeah,
Ranger.
exactly. So, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
For us to, or for the Rangers to have gone from, you know, being a place that a player did all that to get there to then hearing him say pretty non-committal comments about his future, that's a bigger conversation. And I
Yeah.
think that is on the tippy top of Chris Drury's list of things to address because, obviously you're going to be retooling, but you think about the guys who are probably going to be staying around or the guys that they probably want to remain, like JT Miller, he's,
Hmm.
captain, like
Right.
he's pretty locked in. Optics wise, they literally just can't, they really just can't get rid of another captain. Um, and then you look at Igor and Gavrikov and Fox. Um, and it gets down to a point of, you want them to be committed to it too, and you want them to want to be here too. And right now
Right.
there's not a lot that would me if I were a player, there's not a lot that would make me want to stay. But
Well, you got to see it through sometimes. It's not always
yeah,
perfect.
for sure. But I think that's part of the GM's job,
Yeah.
100%. So I think that is going to have to be a topic of conversation at the end of this season. So yeah, that was a very interesting thing to come out of last night. The most interesting thing for sure. And it's going to be those types of topics that dominate the Rangers storylines going forward because who the hell cares that they lost 3-2 to the Flyers in the same fashion that they've lost so many other games.